Hi, this is Annalise at Intuitive Healing Hypnosis at gmail.com. The website is www.intuitivehealinghypnosis.com. And I do a variety of energy healing, hypnosis, shamanic journey, and other things, sound healing. And I've been on this path of discovering deeper energy and deeper levels of things that are going on in our earth life experiences for probably most of my life. So 30 plus years. And today I want to share with you all a technique for clearing negative entities. And I'll talk more about what those could be in a minute. Basically, this has come up because I've had a number of healers and clients and other energy workers just I don't want to say like shy away from this topic, but maybe want some tips or guidance on how to do this. And what I do, it's just really simple. I'll demystify it for you. I use dowsing now. In the past, I just used energy and intention, which is what dowsing uses too, energy and intention. But then dowsing goes a step further and gives you a readout tool on when an entity is clear. So, what is an entity? Let's just dig into that first. And it's a really good question. It is usually an energy that has a form of consciousness to it, albeit a lower vibrational form of consciousness, usually operating under the level of truth, which if you're familiar with Dr. David Hawkins' map of consciousness that he developed in his, he's well known for his first book was Power versus Force, and then after that he had about 8 or 9 other books. They're all good. You should pick them up and read them sometime if you are looking for a good book to read. Might be a little heady and thick, but I always reap a lot of benefit from reading his work. The pages are rich with information. That said, above the level of truth, your consciousness level can develop higher and in an upwards momentum. Below the level of truth, you're not really operating in a high consciousness level. And there are people who are below the level of truth. There are entities who are below the level of truth. So the level of truth then can take you into higher levels of awareness, like love, peace, joy, acceptance, all kinds of things in the scale of consciousness or the map of consciousness that Dr. Hawkins developed using a lot of muscle testing and his techniques for consciousness exploration. Very interesting to look at. And I use that as a framework sometimes for seeing where somebody is at or something is at, what's their consciousness level. So an entity is usually operating below the level of truth, and you can have a couple kinds. There's the kind that lived on Earth that exited the body, but never exited the earth plane, more or less. And these are like earthbound spirits. That's what some people call them. And they can often attach to people or things that had some kind of significant impact on their life, or like their ancestors. They could be attached to an ancestor. Could be they're attached to somebody who's now living in the place or the house that they used to live in. It doesn't always happen that they attach to a person, but usually a thing or a place. They're definitely here attached to something energetically. Some of them are simply confused about how to move on, because their death maybe was unexpected or a shock or sudden, like they fell, they bumped their head and that was it, and they don't even know they're dead because maybe they didn't in life have a belief system about where they go after they die. And so they're just kind of in limbo land until, often until a spiritual practitioner or someone from the other side intervenes and helps guide them to the light, or helps guide them onto the next best place for their soul's evolution, is a good way to put it. Help guide them on to the next best place for their soul's evolution, which is not being stuck in limbo, or being stuck on the earth plane, or being on the earth plane for any reason. There are a lot of entities, it seems like, to clear from the earth plane. And so the more people can become aware of this issue and help clear it, the better. Now, places that, well, let me finish saying, so other kinds of entities that there are ones that come from other dimensions and other realms. And that may sound far-fetched or hard to believe or something to some of you, but that's just the way it is, okay? They're coming in from somewhere else, and they often are of a darker nature, and they are varying degrees of what I would call evil. You know, some of them are just kind of annoying. They attach to people and cause people to fight or be unpleasant, or to have a weird attitude. And yeah. So, you know, I'll talk next about things that make you or other people susceptible to having an entity like this attached to you. So they're coming in from elsewhere, other realms, dimensions, and they're of a negative or even an evil nature, varying degrees. You get some really evil ones. You got your demons, actually, that can be removed the same way as other entities of a lesser extent of development or evil. Demons are like a little more developed consciousness usually than entities, I find, and they just have more dark energy. But don't be afraid, people. All right, so the darker entities tend to attach to people who have holes in their auras. This can be caused from drug use, alcohol abuse, and mental health issues. And that's a tricky one, because a lot of times the entity itself is causing symptoms of mental health disorders, issues. But you'll find that the person already had some of the issues. They're just exacerbated by the presence of the entity. The mental health issue is usually there from some kind of trauma or difficulty that the person went through and wasn't able to heal themselves from yet. So those kinds of things present like Swiss cheese in your aura, and they're little holes that the entities like to get in and kind of wreak their havoc or have their heyday on Earth, because they can't be here without sort of an invitation, even if that's a passive sort of invitation that you're giving them. They cannot be here without our permission. And so you just want to be careful that you're not hanging a vacancy sign for entity possession on you by, abusing drugs and alcohol, by not getting help, or really working through some of the trauma and things. It's hard, but it is important to we want to keep moving towards the light as much as possible. And sometimes when we get stuck in trauma, it can send us back down spiraling in a bad direction, which makes us susceptible. Just like some people are more susceptible to catching colds, or their immune system's not as strong. It can be likened to that. That's maybe a good analogy for it. You can have a weakened aura, which can make you susceptible to entity possession, basically. Signs and symptoms of entity possession are varied, but usually a person is more irritable, they're more unpleasant, they are they behave in a confusing sort of way. They can be prone to be manipulators. Like I already mentioned, they can show signs of mental illness, perversions, a lot of sexual perversions, honestly, and it just depends on what kind of entity it is. Anyway, you don't really want them. Some people, you clear them and they never come back, okay? And some people, you clear them and they come back in 2 minutes. Not the same entities, because the way I'm going to show you to clear them, you send them off and they go on and they are not allowed back on the earth plane. Because just like they can be invited, more or less, they can be disinvited. And using your energy, your consciousness, your power, you can ask that entity leaves and is not allowed back, not permitted back on the earth plane, that they're going to go somewhere else and have their development, and maybe at a later time in their evolution, when they're ready to be above the level of truth, they could come back, so who knows. But some people, you'll clear them and they won't be clear very long. Some other entity finds its way back in. And that's usually a sign that that person is not ready or willing to be better. And there's not much you can do for them. You could try clearing them every day, but honestly, they need to take some initiative and decide that they want to be healed, that they want to be whole, and take responsibility for themselves and for their well-being. A lot of times you'll have people deep, deep, deep in a victim and blaming mode who are not able to shake off entities and keep them off. Because being a victim and blaming other people for who you are, where you are, what's happened to you, whatever, is a huge unwillingness to want to heal and be whole and to recover from trauma and things that have happened to you that were hurtful or damaging. Okay, so all right. The basic way to clear an entity. First, decide who you're going to check. I use my dowsing chart, which I've shown before in my videos, and it's wrinkly and the paper is really soft and supple now because I've used it so much. But this is just a basic dowsing chart that a teacher that I really admire and have learned a lot from, Raymond Grace, I believe makes available on his website. I got this in person at one of his classes, but I think if you go to www.raymondgrace.us, so that's Raymond, R-A-Y-M-O-N, Grace, G-R-A-C-E, .us, you should be able to find his dowsing chart and download one for yourself. You can get dowsing charts elsewhere. I can talk more about dowsing charts, or you can write questions about it in the comments of this video, or email me. I can talk more about dowsing charts maybe in another video another time. So basically, you want to hold the person in mind, just simply, okay, I'm thinking of a particular person I know, and I want to check and see if she has any entities on her today. And this is a person who I know has struggled with trauma and probably some PTSD and from a really hard childhood. It was hard for her, and yes, probably abusive in some ways, and she hasn't taken a lot of steps to recover. She's had opportunities that she's not taken, and now she's a little bit older, and well, a lot older, and has just never really seemed willing to take responsibility and for her healing, for her own healing. So she usually has a couple entities on her, and I clear them every once in a while, but they usually come back. So, but we'll just, I'll hold that person in mind, and I will check to see we'll just do basic yes, no, and well, I'll hold it up. So when it just spins, I usually just get mine spinning clockwise when I'm formulating my question, and then I let it either swing yes or no, or give me some kind of percentage readout between yes and no, which I can discuss a little bit more in detail here in a minute. So, is this person I'm holding in mind clear of entities today? I'm getting a no. Maybe I'll ask how many? How many? does she have on her? So you can see this chart. There's in the inner circle 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll ask how many. My pendulum will swing as I formulate the question. And then we'll see, you know, is it 3, 4? How many? Okay, so how many entities does this person that I'm holding in mind have on her today? I'm getting 3. You don't need to know how many in order to clear it. But if you want to know how many, that could be helpful, because if it's someone you clear regularly, it'd be good to know if, do they have 17 back on them again today or not? And 17 is an awful lot, by the way. So that might be, you can still clear them, of course. And it's just as simple to clear 17 as it is to clear 3. But there might be something really wacko going on with somebody who's got 17 entities on them. So you probably have to do a lot of energy and healing work with that person to get them clear and keep them clear. And so 3 entities, well, how evil are those entities? Do you want to know that? So again, looking at the numbers on this inner circle, we'll just turn them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 into a percent scale. So it's 0% to 100%. Or you could do on a scale of 1 to 10. How evil are they? In fact, let's do that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how evil are these entities that are on this person I'm holding in mind? And we determined there were 3 entities. They're mid-range. They're between 4 and 5 on the scale of evil. Okay. So this person's probably not committing murders, which isn't the case. But this person definitely is not healthy to be around. They're going to be probably pretty unpleasant, argumentative, maybe even selfish. Yeah, because entities around 4 or 5 are pretty self-serving. You get down to 1 and 2, and they're just causing mischief, you know. And you get around 4 or 5, it starts to get a little more serious. It's like, this is an ongoing problem, and it's just negative energy you don't want to be around. You don't want to put yourself or your family around. And then when you get to like the 8, 9, 10 on the scale of evil, stay away. I mean, if you're around someone like that, you really have to ask yourself, why? Like, this person could flip a switch and kill somebody. That's bad. It's pretty evil. So you don't want to really put yourself around somebody that evil. But you can just sit here and douse to remove things like that. If you have to be around someone, like say you're a lawyer or a judge and you're in a court case and there's, you know, somebody on the stand who committed an evil act and has evil entity attachments, or you just work in a court building, or, you know, I want to say, or you might work in like a psychiatric ward at a hospital too, because it can happen there too, where you get really evil ones, or a federal prison. So, you know, your work brings you around that. You don't really just have this choice to say, I'm not going to be around it. It's your work. And if you know you have to be in close proximity to that person and you might feel unsafe, you could clear the entities off that person. And I have a little one asking for me, so I'm going to pause the video and come right back, okay? And then we will clear our first entities here, and I'll show you how. All right, I'm back. I think we got everyone taken care of there. And so, clearing our first entity, simple with the dowsing tool. Clearing goes in a counterclockwise direction. Whether you use the dowsing tool or not, what you want to do is set your intention. I am clearing the entities from this building or this person. You use their name, of course, you have their name. And then what you want to do is, I'm dowsing it, so that person that I was holding in mind, and clear the entities from that person. And when the dowsing reads out a yes, I'll know that the entities are clear from that person. And in the meantime, I'm holding my intention. My energy and my intention are at clearing the entities from that person. I have kids trying to break in. Guys, no.
How many cookies do we get up?
You can have those. You need to share them, okay?
How many cookies do we need to get though?
2.
We can each get 2.
Clearing the entities from the person I've been holding in mind. Now the entities are cleared. And to double check, how many entities are now on that person? I'm getting 0. Remember, I had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It goes around with more numbers. So when it goes here, it's 0, right? To the left of the 1. You could ask something like, what is the likelihood? And we'll do a percent scale. Like I showed you over here. We'll turn this into 0 to 100%. So that right over here is 100%. Right here is 0. I don't think you can have a 0%, but we'll just say that, whatever. So 0 to 100%. What is the likelihood that this person will attract more entities? Can be good to check that, because if it's someone you're really, really wanting to keep clear, like you have to live with them in close proximity or something, or you're really trying to help them through a difficult thing, or you have to see them for appointments on a regular basis, it can be helpful to know, because then you'll know if you should just expect to clear them. Yeah. This particular person I had in mind for this and that I cleared, 100% likelihood that they'll have entities back on them. And I believe it, because there's new ones every day on them, usually, it seems like. So like I said, some people don't want to get better. And it's not our place or our responsibility to make or force anyone to get better. In fact, it's impossible. That's a personal choice. And it's a person's own responsibility. Yes, they can receive help. But, I mean, hello, unless they're taking responsibility and wanting to get better, you know, a sure sign someone is really willing to get better and heal is that they will ask for help. Sometimes people haven't asked for help because they don't know what's going on, okay? They want to get better, but they don't know what's going on. They don't know who to ask. they'll probably get better. But the people who know, like, something's off, I feel really poopy, I have been this way for 20 years, and meh, 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 but they don't want to take responsibility and they don't want to try to get better. What can you do? You can't really do much for them as far as I can tell. Maybe someone else out there has a good solution for that. You can pray for them. Prayer is powerful. Energy work is like prayer. Dowsing can be like prayer. I will just end with the more you are aligned with love, that you are aligned with your higher self, and that you are aligned with Source, who is divine, perfect energy, the orchestrative energy of the universe, blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on. Probably. The more you are aligned with Source, your higher self, and the energy of love, the more powerful your energy work, the more powerful and effective your energy work and your dowsing and your intentions will be. If you have any questions, I love to help healers, other energy workers, people on a similar path of discovery about the nature of reality and consciousness and the power that you have in you, the power we all can harness within ourselves, or that we can discover within ourselves and use for the good of ourselves, our families, and others. I love to help you guys. So send me an email and maybe schedule a session. I can do quick little tutorial sessions. I can do longer sessions. I like to do intuitive work for people. I also am a firm believer in teach a man to fish rather than just give him a fish. So I like to do a bit of like showing you how to do it for yourself too. But like I said, the more you're aligned with your higher self, the energy of Source, and the energy of pure love, the stronger your energy work, and the more effective your energy work will always be. So I hope this helps. That's just basic entity clearing 101. Maybe I'll call this video that. And write to me if you have questions and all that. And maybe I'll do entity clearing 201 if I get, some good, interesting questions that would merit a second video to cover them. All right. Thank you all, and be blessed. Bye-bye.